want you to walk the dog every day. I don't want you to like buy me a gift. I just want you to love me, right? Like, and it's not that she doesn't care about those things. Like, it's not to say that those things don't matter, because they're still nice. And like we talked about, they're part of a well-rounded relationship.
And that's where the words of affirmation comes in, is to be looked up to, respected, accomplished, congratulated for their accomplishments. Right. So, and I think it has a lot of root in evolutionary biology, right? Because if you think about it too, again, with the feminine and the masculine, right? What do women, in fact, women probably have the gifts as probably number 2 or number 3, but women in general, right? From an evolutionary biology perspective, select men that have high resources that they share with them. Right, so
I mean, it makes sense because he's also investing in you.
Exactly, right? That's why we buy diamond rings and jewelry, right?
That's
it's because
true.
it shows, like, the more invested, the less likely he is to go and leave, right?
Yeah, because I mean, like I mentioned in the beginning, it is different. Like I said, I do feel like a majority of men kind of have physical touch or words of affirmation because of the reasons we already discussed. And women can vary more. And I think it's, those kind of go more into like all of them. If you look at all of them, you need all of them for a relationship. So if a woman says one or the other, she's still looking for that, like you said, that way of you showing her that you actually care about her.
Right.
And that can vary based off of what she was lacking growing up. I guess that would make her feel most loved by you. But I agree, and I'm biased though, because we already know that mine is quality time. But there is something where if someone's just with you and enjoys time with you, that means so much. Like you said, there's plenty of women out there who are like, I don't want you to walk the dog every day. I don't want you to like buy me a gift. I just want you to love me, right? Like, and it's not that she doesn't care about those things. Like, it's not to say that those things don't matter, because they're still nice. And like we talked about, they're part of a well-rounded relationship when you have all of the things to some degree. But it does make you feel like someone genuinely cares about you when all there is you and the time together, right?
Yeah.
And you feel like someone's choosing to sit there with you and spend time with you. And again, it's not the main one for everybody, but I think it ties into what you said. Whereas like from a feminine perspective of it, that's what a woman wants. Like she wants to be loved to her core. And men want to feel desired and needed. Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where the words of affirmation comes in, is to be looked up to, respected, accomplished, congratulated for their accomplishments. Right. So, and I think it has a lot of root in evolutionary biology, right? Because if you think about it too, again, with the feminine and the masculine, right? What do women, in fact, women probably have the gifts as probably number 2 or number 3 on their list. I would guess that a lot of women do, because so for a woman, right? What are the things that she's concerned with, right? So if a guy really likes her beyond just her physical appearance, which she knows fades over time, right? Again, not smart to base something on something that you don't have control over. He has to actually like you as a person, love you as a person, right? So physical like gifts, first of all, they show that he's willing to allocate his resources to her, right? Which is, an evolutionary marker that a good mating strategy, right? A man that's why, I
don't know. That was like my second last one.
Well, but women in general, right? From an evolutionary biology perspective, select men that have high resources that they share with them, right? So
I mean, it makes sense because he's also investing in you.
Exactly, right? That's why we buy diamond rings and jewelry, right?
That's
it's because
true.
it shows, like, the more invested, the less likely he is to go and leave, right? And then the quality time also indicates that same same thing, right?
We haven't talked a lot about acts of service.
I mean, acts of service is also,
which I feel like that became like mine.
Mm.
If you take out quality time, because we spend so much time together, like I said,
yeah,
acts of service became, I think, my number one, but it's still not quality time.
right.
And like, I don't need you to do stuff for me, but it's like when you do things, I'm going to use you as an example, obviously.
Right.
Like, I don't like doing the dishes.
Yeah.
Like by hand, I don't like doing the dishes. I'll fold laundry all day, but I don't want to do the dishes.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just do them and like you do them for me. You don't like be like, hey, I'm doing the dishes for you. But I can tell you're like genuinely doing them because I don't like to do them.
Right.
And that means a lot. Like it's not just like, oh, he like cleaned the car or, these things. It's you doing something to help me because I don't like it.
Right.
And I think that is like the key behind the acts of service thing, right? Is like someone doing something for you because they care about you and you don't have to ask for it. And they're not like holding it over your head like, hey, I did the dishes.
Right.
You know what that means, or something like that. And it's like those genuine moments of like someone trying to help you or someone doing something for you that they know you might not want to do or something like that is the acts of service.
And if you think about that, right, if I put those three, right, if I put quality time, acts of service, and gifts for a woman, those things indicate that he's not just here for the sex and you see what I'm saying? Like he's not just using you for the physical aspect,
because unfortunately the words of affirmation with men,
you can't trust that.
It's
can't
not
trust
concrete.
In fact, it's difficult to compliment a woman, right? She doesn't she doesn't believe it, right? So if you flip it though, what is a man's main concern is that he's being used for his resources or status. Right. So what proves that it's not the case? One, physical touch. If she wants you, she desires you, then she's not using you for your money and for your status. Right. Number two, words of affirmation. If she looks up to you and respects you, which is harder for a woman, it's much harder for her to, a man could say whatever to try and get in your pants, right? He doesn't have any problem doing that. He can bullshit you.
Well, this is exactly why women don't believe the compliments
a woman, she has to swallow a lot to be able to call a man that she doesn't respect a man that she respects, or to say, oh, you're so big and strong, when she doesn't really think it, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like it's harder for her to like those come across as more genuine, right?
Right.
So that's why those things.
What would be the third one if you had to pick three for men?
I always forget. Okay, so it's
physical touch, words of affirmation. What would be the third?
We said acts of service for women, gifts, and then
quality time.
I mean, I don't know if there is like a third.
You think there's only those two?
I think it's mostly the two. Yeah, because I don't see the.
I don't think quality time.
Yeah.
You're like, no.
Yeah, I guess that. I mean, but women always want your time. So I don't think that like it feels like, that's a.
But I would say it as like listening to you talk about the things that you care about and things like that. Like that's quality time.
Yeah, I guess that's
quality. Yeah, men do value that.
Yeah, I think so. But it just, that's where it starts to become more of a blurry line. Whereas I think those two are distinct for men, and the other three are distinct for women.
If we had to pick three.
Yeah.
Because I do think it would be quality time too, because there's plenty of men out there that are like, my wife doesn't listen to how I feel and all that stuff. And that's quality time, is sitting down and
if you interpret it that way.
Getting to the nitty-gritty of what's going on. Yeah. I mean, like if we did three for each, but I understand that the top two are the physical touch and the words of affirmation, but just to equal
I think
out.
If you define quality time as I'm going to spend time with you, it's about you this time, versus we're just going to be together. Right.
Well, that's why I said it has to be some sort of quality.
Like
and some people
specifically
do
Right.
just like having somebody there, and they would classify that as
Right.
quality time. But that same person would still feel like the true definition of quality time is sitting with somebody
I'm paying
and
attention
being
to
there.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That then I would say that makes sense.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's more so. And I think that when things fall out of those categories, that there's something going on, right? Because generally women would want those three things. Makes sense. And if there's something else, like I said,
Even though you were
a
like gift
deviation.
giving, who would want
Well, but that's
that?
because I'm a man, right? But from a woman's perspective, I think that a lot of, I mean, gift giving is a thing that is big for women, right? Like, I know it's not as much for you, but for a lot of women, that is, because it's an indication of where you're.
Yeah, but I would tell
putting your
women
value.
too that, again, I'm like the poster child for quality time. That the thing that a man values more, though, is his time. Because a man could have money and he could get you gifts and he could still not care. Granted, some of the other things that you talked about definitely does show that he's invested in you.
Yeah.
But I do think quality time is the main one because he can't get that back. He can't make more time. We can't make more time.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
And he can make more money.
Right.
And he can pay for something and
Right.
it might not mean anything. But I know
Right.
quality time was already up there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.